Last night, while you were supposed to be sleeping, something woke you up. And the night before. And the night before that. You shuffle to the bathroom in the dark, half asleep, telling yourself it's fine. It's normal. It's just part of getting older. But what if I told you that it's not normal? That what's happening to your body at 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. is your body trying to warn you about something far more serious than a full bladder. What if the real cause has nothing to do with how much water you drink? And everything to do with what's quietly happening inside your heart, your circulation, and your airway while you sleep. I've spent 18 years asking men over 60 one simple question: how many times a night do you get up to urinate? And in 18 years, I have never once had a patient tell me the real reason before they walked into my office. Tonight, I'm going to give you that answer. For real reasons ranked from the most common to the one that is silently destroying the sleep and the health of millions of men right now. And I promise you, by the time we get to number 1, you will never think about your nighttime bathroom trips the same way again. My name is Dr. Jane. I specialize in men's urological health and wellness for patients over 60. And the conversation we're about to have is the one your doctor genuinely wishes he had 30 minutes to sit down and have with you, but almost never does. There is a medical term for waking up at night to urinate. It's called nocturia. And the most important thing I can tell you about nocturia right now is this: it is not a condition. It is a symptom, a signal, a message from your body that something, somewhere, needs your attention. Think about it this way. Your body is running a 24-hour monitoring system, checking your blood pressure, your fluid levels, your oxygen, your organ function, every single minute of every single day. When something in that system goes wrong, it needs a way to get your attention. And for men over 60, one of the most reliable alarm buttons in the entire system is the bladder. So when you're waking up 2, 3, 4 times a night, that's not inconvenience. That's your body ringing the alarm. The only question is whether you're actually listening. According to the American Urological Association, nocturia affects more than 65% of men between 60 and 70. By 80, that number is nearly 80%. But here's what those statistics don't capture. Chronic sleep disruption from nocturia is directly linked to falls and fractures, cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, depression, and a dramatically shortened life expectancy. This is not a minor annoyance. This is a health crisis that millions of men are sleeping through, literally. So let's talk about what's actually causing it. We start with reason number 4, the most fixable one on this list, and the one that almost nobody gets right. Most men I see have already tried to solve this on their own. They stop drinking water after 8 p.m. They cut back on coffee. And they still wake up twice a night and have absolutely no idea why. Here is what they are missing. Alcohol is a diuretic. Even 2 glasses of wine with dinner signals your kidneys to flush water out of your body for the next 3 to 4 hours. That nightcap at 9 p.m. isn't relaxing your bladder. It's filling it at midnight. Caffeine after 2 p.m. does the exact same thing. And I'm not just talking about coffee, black tea, green tea, certain sodas. Even some over-the-counter pain relievers contain enough caffeine to keep your kidneys working through the night. And then there's the hidden one. The one that surprises almost every patient I tell it to. Soup. A large bowl of sodium-rich broth or stew at dinner causes your body to first retain and then rapidly release fluid in the hours that follow. Your body holds it in, then dumps it right on schedule at 2 a.m. I had a patient I'll call Robert. 68 years old, retired contractor from Ohio. Robert was convinced he had a serious prostate problem. 3 bathroom trips a night every night. Exhausted, frustrated, and convinced something was seriously wrong. When I asked him to walk me through his evening in detail, he mentioned that he had a large bowl of beef stew every single night before bed. It had been his comfort ritual since the day he retired. We moved his main meal to lunchtime, adjusted his fluid timing, cut the evening alcohol to 1 glass before 7 p.m. 2 weeks later, Robert was waking up once a night. Some nights, not at all. Not every solution requires a prescription. Sometimes it just requires paying attention. The rule is simple: no liquids of any kind, including alcohol, soup, and caffeine, within 2 to 3 hours of bedtime. Hydrate aggressively in the morning. Taper through the afternoon. And yes, That includes the herbal tea you think is harmless. Reason number 3 is the one that makes my patients genuinely angry when they hear it. Because the thing waking them up at night is often something another doctor prescribed specifically to keep them healthy. If you're over 60 and managing blood pressure, heart disease, or any kind of fluid retention, there is a very good chance you are taking a diuretic, a water pill. Medications like furosemide, hydrochlorothiazide, chlorthalidone. Essential medications. Medications that are genuinely helping your heart and your blood pressure. But here is the problem that almost nobody ever addresses. Picture a dam. A dam controls when and how water is released, and timing is everything. Release too much water at the wrong moment, and everything downstream floods. Your diuretic works exactly like that dam. And most men are releasing the flood at the worst possible time. When you take a once-daily diuretic first thing in the morning, which is what most men do, because that's when they take all their medications, that pill reaches its peak effect somewhere between 4 and 6 hours later. Which means maximum fluid release is happening in the late afternoon and early evening, right when your body is winding down for sleep, right when the last thing you need is your kidneys working at full capacity. A simple conversation with your doctor about shifting that medication to mid-morning rather than first thing can sometimes cut nighttime bathroom trips in half. I have watched this single adjustment change a patient's life. I also want to flag calcium channel blockers, blood pressure medications like amlodipine, which commonly cause mild ankle swelling during the day. That swelling is fluid, and when you lie down at night, that fluid doesn't stay in your ankles. It gets reabsorbed into your bloodstream and sent directly to your kidneys to process. The fix here is straightforward. Take out every medication you currently take and write down the exact time you take each one. Bring that list to your doctor and ask one direct question. Could any of these be contributing to my nighttime urination? And is there a better time of day to take them? That one question could give you back hours of uninterrupted sleep. And please, never change your medication timing on your own. This is a conversation, not a self-experiment. Before we get to the final 2 reasons, and I need you to stay with me because number 1 is genuinely going to change the way you understand your own body, I want to take 1 second to ask you something. If you're learning something in this video that you've never heard before, hit the like button right now. It costs you nothing, and it tells YouTube to put this in front of more men over 60 who need this information tonight. And leave me a comment with 1 number. How many times are you getting up per night? I read every single comment, and your answers directly shape what I cover next on this channel. Now we get to reason number 2. The one most men have heard of, but almost nobody truly understands. By age 60, more than half of all men have an enlarged prostate. By 70, it's 70%. By 80, nearly 90%. The medical name is benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH. And I want to be clear about something. Benign means it is not cancer. But benign does not mean harmless. Here is exactly what is happening inside your body. Your urethra, the tube that carries urine from your bladder out of your body, runs directly through the center of your prostate, like a drinking straw pressed through the middle of an apple. Now imagine that apple slowly expanding year after year, quietly squeezing that straw from every side. The straw doesn't close completely, but it narrows. And a narrowed straw means your bladder has to push harder to empty itself. And no matter how hard it pushes, it can never fully clear. There is always a residual pool sitting at the bottom, like the last inch of water stuck in a kinked hose that you can never quite shake out. That leftover pool sends a continuous signal to your bladder, not empty yet. More room needed. Empty again. 45 minutes after you just went. This is the cycle that steals sleep from millions of men every single night. Not too much fluid, not a weak bladder. A prostate that is slowly, quietly changing the rules of how your body operates, and a bladder that is following those new rules perfectly. I want to tell you about Dennis. 71 years old, former high school football coach from Georgia. Dennis had been waking up 4 times every night for 3 years. His wife had moved to the guest bedroom. He was falling asleep at the dinner table. He had been told by 2 different doctors that this was simply what aging looked like. When Dennis came to see me, a simple ultrasound showed a significantly enlarged prostate and a post-void residual. the fluid his bladder was unable to release of nearly 200 milliliters. Almost a full cup of urine, left behind every single time he thought he was done. We started Dennis on a treatment plan. Within 60 days, he was down to 1 trip per night. His wife moved back into the bedroom. He called my office just to tell me that. Just that. If you have not had a proper urological evaluation in the past year, not just a PSA blood test, but a real workup, please make that appointment this week. Ask specifically for a uroflowmetry test and a post-void residual ultrasound. These 2 tests will tell you in minutes whether your prostate is driving your nocturia. And BPH caught early is highly treatable. There are minimally invasive procedures available today that a decade ago didn't exist. Do not wait on this. And now we arrive at reason number 1. The reason I saved for last. The reason that most men never hear from their doctors. The reason that, when I explain it to patients, almost all of them look at me and say the same thing. Why did nobody ever tell me this? The number 1 hidden driver of nocturia in men over 60 is not your prostate. It is not your bladder. It is not even your kidneys. It is your heart and your airway. Here is what is happening. During the day, while you are upright and moving, gravity does its job, pulling fluid down into your lower legs and ankles. If your circulation has slowed even slightly, and after 60, it almost always has, that fluid builds up gradually through the day. You may notice it as mild puffiness around the ankles by late afternoon. Most men ignore it completely. Then you go to bed. You lie flat, and gravity disappears. That pooled fluid, everything that spent the day collecting in your legs, now has nowhere to go but back into your bloodstream. Your body absorbs it, sends it to your kidneys, and your kidneys do precisely what they are designed to do. They process it and send it to your bladder. At 1 a.m., at 3 a.m., at 5 a.m. This is called nocturnal polyuria, and it is a cardiovascular and circulatory problem that has been wearing the mask of a bladder problem possibly for years. But it goes even deeper than that. There is a condition affecting 30 million Americans, and 80% of them have no idea they have it. It is called obstructive sleep apnea. And in men over 60, it is one of the most underdiagnosed and most destructive conditions I see in my practice. Here is the chain reaction that nobody ever explains. When you stop breathing during sleep, even briefly, even partially, your brain triggers an emergency response. Oxygen is dropping. The heart is under stress. And in that moment of deprivation, the heart releases a hormone called atrial natriuretic peptide. Think of it as a biochemical distress flare, a signal that says, too much pressure, too much volume, dump fluid immediately. Your kidneys comply, and your bladder fills. You wake up. You assume it's your prostate. You go back to bed. It happens again 2 hours later. Your prostate was never the problem. Your airway was the problem. Your heart was sending the signal, and your bladder was simply delivering the message. I want to tell you about Walter, 74 years old, retired accountant. Walter had seen 2 urologists. His prostate was a normal size. His PSA was fine, but he was getting up 4 times a night, every night, without exception. He was beginning to wonder if something was seriously wrong with him. During our conversation, his wife, almost as an aside, almost apologetically, mentioned that Walter snored very heavily, and that sometimes she would watch him and he would just stop breathing and then gasp. I sent Walter for a sleep study. The results came back showing severe obstructive sleep apnea, 47 complete breathing interruptions per hour. We fitted Walter with a CPAP machine. 3 weeks later, he was waking up once a night. Sometimes not at all. His bladder had been innocent the entire time. So I am going to ask you something, and I need you to answer it honestly. Does your partner tell you that you snore loudly? That you sometimes stop breathing and then gasp? Do you wake up with headaches that weren't there when you went to sleep? Do you feel exhausted after a full night in bed, as though the sleep isn't actually restoring you? If the answer to any of those questions is yes, please go to your doctor this week and say 5 words. I want a sleep study. Not a suggestion. A direct request. Because a sleep study could give you back your nights, take pressure off your heart, and genuinely add years to your life. Here is your action plan. 5 things starting today. Stop all fluids, Alcohol, caffeine, and soup included 2 to 3 hours before bed. Hydrate fully in the morning and early afternoon, then taper off. Take out every medication you currently take and write down the time you take each one. Bring that list to your doctor and ask specifically whether any of them could be contributing to your nighttime urination and whether the timing could be adjusted. If you have not had a full urological workup in the past year, schedule it this week. Ask specifically for a uroflowmetry test and a post-void residual ultrasound. If you notice ankle swelling during the day, ask your doctor about compression socks worn during waking hours. That fluid pooling in your legs is the same fluid waking you up at midnight. And if you snore, gasp during sleep, or wake exhausted, request a sleep study. Today, not eventually. Today, you do not have to accept this as your life. The men who stay vital, sharp, and rested in their 60s, 70s, and 80s are not the ones with the best genetics. They are the ones who refuse to accept that every symptom was inevitable. Who asked the hard questions? Who acted on the answers? You now have the information. You now have the questions. What you do with them tonight is up to you. If this video gave you something real, share it with one man who needs it. Because the man who needs this most is probably the one who has been dismissing these exact symptoms for years and calling it aging. Subscribe and turn on the bell. Because next week I'm going to show you the 5 early warning signs that your prostate situation is about to become urgent, signs most men ignore for 12 to 18 months before finally getting help. You do not want to miss that one.